When a gunshot rings out on a dark spring night, it sets in motion a chain of events that cannot be undone.
Honestly, at first, hearing the news of what actually happened, I felt like it was a lie.
It just came out of the blue. It was just a shock.
An unfathomable crime that will test a family, investigators, and the bonds of love.
Every time she mentioned his name, she would smile.
There was no doubt in my mind. Their relationship was going good and that she was happy.
In my 15-year career, the most difficult crime I ever responded to.
But as police push for answers, they'll walk into a world they could never imagine, laced with jealousy, shifting allegiances, and stone-cold liars.
It opens your eyes to just how brutal people can be.
April 29th, 2013. It's just after midnight in Hartford, Connecticut, when police receive a 911 call from a section of town they know all too well.
Yes, I'd like to go to the shooting.
Where?
It's on the corner of Magnolia and Martha.
It's called the Clay Arsenal. It's the northeast section of the city of Hartford, Connecticut. It's a very tough neighborhood to live in.
The caller, who identifies himself as 21-year-old C.J. Bryan, is desperate for help.
Can you come quick, please, Somali.
He stated his girlfriend had been shot and to send help right away. Very dramatic.
We're gonna be there, okay? But you gotta give me...
Somali, you good? You can breathe? Somali.
Hello?
Somali, can you come quick, please?
You're on the way.
When first responders arrive at the scene, they find CJ's girlfriend, 20-year-old Shamari Jenkins, slumped behind the wheel of her vehicle.
Shamari's car had crashed on the west side of Magnolia Street. She was still in the driver's seat, unconscious. She had been shot one time through the shoulder and had entered her upper torso.
Oh, God, please tell me she's gonna be all right.
We're gonna do everything we can.
As EMTs tend to Shamari, CJ tells responding officers what he knows, which isn't much.
I don't know. Everything happened so fast. I didn't even realize what was going on.
They were driving down the street and all of a sudden it was just gunshots and one bullet came through Shamari's back window. She lost control of the car and it just hit the stairway.
With CJ by her side, Shamari is rushed to the hospital, barely clinging to life.
She was immediately rushed into surgery when she got to the hospital.
In a neighborhood known for gang violence and drug wars, detectives are all too familiar with such tragedies.
Hey, what happened there? 20-year-old African-American female shot through the back window and had a crash right here.
You could be just sitting at a light and a bullet come through the car and hit you for no reason at all.
Had Shamari been an innocent victim of crossfire? The crime scene certainly seems to support that theory.
Shamari's vehicle had an obvious gunshot hole through the rear window, and we could actually see clearly that it went into the driver's seat and ultimately struck her.
But a closer look inside the car reveals a clue that deepens the mystery.
Early, take a look at this.
Looking in there, I could actually see it. She had a photo from the ultrasound.
For detectives, Shamari's apparent pregnancy means she isn't the only victim whose survival is on the line.
In my 15-year career, probably the most difficult crime I ever responded to.
The second of 6 siblings, Shamari Jenkins was born in 1993 into a large and loving family.
Yeah, I call her Ladybug. That was my nickname for her, Ladybug.
She was just beautiful. She was a beautiful child.
A beauty that shined both inside and out. After graduating high school in 2010, the statuesque teen followed her heart to nursing school.
She graduated and she wanted to finish college and then go into nursing because she loved people and she wanted to take care of people.
But almost as quickly as Shamari's dream took hold, a life-changing event in 2012 forced her to reassess her priorities.
Shamari's mom had gotten really sick.
Shamari was actually going to school in North Carolina, but she came back and she was taking care of her mom.
She said she would rather be there for her mother. You know, her mother needed her at that point, and that's what she wanted to do.
Shamari's mother eventually lost her battle with the autoimmune disease, sarcoidosis, and passed away that August.
For Shamari, it was really hard. She was really close to her mom, and with her not being there was just like a void.
Despite the emotional toll her mother's death took on her, Shamari stood strong and remained the rock her family had grown to depend on.
Good morning.
She started taking on the mother role. She took custody of me. I moved in with her, and she was just doing everything that my mother would do.
Have a good day. Hold on, don't forget your lunch.
It was natural for her. It was hard, but she did it.
As a result, the 19-year-old grew wise beyond her years.
I think those incidents caused her to mature, a little faster than she would have.
I feel like she was trying to find herself and she was trying to find love.
Hey, baby, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
In the fall of 2012, it seemed Shamari might get that wish. While hanging out with friends, she was introduced to a young man named Carlton Bryan.
I'm Carlton.
Nice to meet you.
My friends call me CJ, though. You can call me CJ.
Like Shamari, CJ had also faced his own challenges in life.
CJ was a single father. He had a 3-year-old son, and he was able to support him through a well-paying job at a local security company.
Where you guys headed?
Well, I'm actually headed to go pick up my son.
You have a son?
Yeah.
How cute is that?
She knew that he had a son with someone else. It wasn't a secret. She accepted that.
Not only did Shamari accept everything about CJ, before long, she was madly in love.
Every time she talked about him, all Shamari would do was smile. I don't think that she's ever had anyone that she felt like she loved as much as she loved CJ.
And naturally, Shamari's close-knit family welcomed her new boyfriend with open arms.
They were both in love with each other. There was no doubt in my mind. Their relationship was going good and that she was happy.
CJ would be over my house pretty much every day, if not every other day. I treated him like one of my sons.
The budding romance seemed to be on a fast track to happily ever after, especially when in December of 2012, Shamari and CJ found out they were expecting a baby of their own.
She always wanted a family. She was excited about it.
There was one woman in the couple's life, though, that wasn't happy about the baby. CJ's ex, Ashley Poole.
Shamari and CJ never had any issues until his first child's mother found out their relationship was more serious than what she thought it was. She used to text Shamari or call her and, just harass her.
But CJ assured Shamari she had nothing to worry about.
CJ told Shamari, she was just a crazy baby mama that want to be calling his girlfriend.
Eventually, the drama subsided. By the following April, the couple knew they were having a boy. Only 8 months after her mother's death, Shamari's life seemed to be back on track.
Knowing her to be this nurturing, loving person, I knew that she would be a very good mother.
When you look at Shamari and CJ in public together, you'll see a happy couple.
In fact, for the loving couple, April 29, 2013 was supposed to be a day of celebration. That afternoon, CJ attended a cookout at Shamari's house.
Shamari came to me, she's like, Daddy, I'm going to see at CJ's house to spend the night. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I said, okay, baby, and I love you. And she said, I'll call you later. And she left out the door.
But just after midnight, Todd Jenkins receives a call no father ever wants to hear.
No. That's when I got a call from CJ. Saying Shamari been shot, Shamari been shot. And I just dropped the phone.
While the first ripples of this tragedy are only now being felt, investigators across town are already hard at work. And what they don't know yet is they're about to wade into even darker waters.
People are crying, hugging each other, screaming Shamari's name, saying she didn't deserve this.
In the early morning hours of April 29, 2013, Shamari Jenkins' loved ones woke to the horrifying news that the 20-year-old mother-to-be had been grievously wounded in a late-night shooting.
Shamari's boyfriend, CJ Bryant, was apparently sitting beside her when a bullet came through the back passenger window and struck her.
On the way to the hospital, I'm actually trying to think positive. I'm like, okay, she got shot, but she's gonna be okay.
As Shamari's panicked family anxiously awaits an update from doctors, back at the crime scene, investigators are searching for answers.
The bullet was fired through the rear windshield, or the rear window of the car on the passenger side.
While Shamari's vehicle is processed for evidence, detectives begin canvassing the neighborhood for possible eyewitnesses.
We're knocking on doors, seeing if anybody heard anything, anybody saw anything.
But locating a witness, especially in a rough and tumble section of town like Clay Arsenal, isn't easy.
I would absolutely classify it as a high crime area. You know, from shootings and assaults and drug activity, stolen vehicles, property damage, you pretty much name it, it occurs in that neighborhood.
Oftentimes, there's a suspicion of police in neighborhoods like this.
No one claims to have heard any shots fired that night. And that's not all.
We weren't able to locate any shell casings. We did a pretty extensive canvass, for that.
No witnesses, no physical evidence. To investigators, something certainly seems amiss.
I'm looking for physical evidence, shell casings, firearms. I'm checking the area and the car. And the feeling that I had, it was just unusual.
As investigators ponder their next move, Shamari's family is gathered at St. Francis Hospital, awaiting news of Shamari's condition.
If you wait right here, the surgeon will be right with you.
I knew once they wouldn't tell me anything, and they take you off and sit you in that little side room. So I know that side room is nothing good about that side room.
Just before 2 a.m., Todd Jenkins and his family received the gut-wrenching news.
I'm sorry. We did everything we could do, and sorry to tell you she didn't make it.
Don't say that! Don't say that!
He said she's gone. She's gone. And I don't even remember what happened directly, right after that. I was floored.
Sadly, when Shamari died, her unborn fetus did not survive, so it was a double tragedy.
Shortly after receiving word of Shamari's death, Hartford detectives Reginald Early and Michael Rykowski begin questioning family members at the ER.
We try to explain what we have at that point and try to garner any background information on what may have been going on in the victim's life, which could lead to the potential motive.
She had any enemies that you were aware of? Or?
No, nobody. They didn't have any enemies. Everybody liked her.
Detectives find that everyone is in shock.
All anybody could do was cry and just ask, why did it happen to her?
She didn't appear to have any known enemies. We were unable to find any real motive.
I want to find the person who done this.
But there is one person detectives would still like to question. The only known witness to the crime, Shamari's boyfriend, CJ.
Very sorry for your loss. Can you tell us what happened?
CJ reiterates what he told responders at the scene.
Everything happened so fast, I didn't really know what was going on. I see a guy come up behind the car with a gun.
Baby, go, 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 punch it, go!
The car was already running, so he told Shamari to speed off. And as she went to speed off, the alleged perpetrator fired one shot into the back windshield. And that bullet ultimately struck Shamari, causing her to crash into the west side of Magnolia Street.
CJ's behavior, coupled with evidence at the crime scene, seems to bolster his claim that maybe he and Shamari were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He certainly didn't come off as though he had just committed a murder.
There's no way a passenger inside the car could have fired the shot.
Still, detectives press CJ for any more information he can provide.
What were y'all doing driving around so late, especially in that part of town?
We were waiting for my cousin.
He said Shamari and him were sitting in the car. He was waiting for his cousin who had owed him money.
Who's your cousin?
Matthew Hall Davis.
The name provides a potential new lead in the case, along with a new witness.
Appreciate your time.
As detectives conclude their interview with CJ, they know unraveling this mystery will be a daunting task. But there's about to be a break no one sees coming.
I got so excited because I'm like, I'm about to solve this case. I'm gonna solve this case.
On April 29, 2013, 20-year-old Shamari Jenkins was gunned down on the streets of Hartford, Connecticut, leaving her boyfriend, C.J. Bryan, along with the rest of her family in a state of shock.
I never got a chance to tell my baby goodbye and that I love you. And I still cry. I cry myself to sleep every night, thinking about it.
The next day, Shamari's autopsy confirms her cause of death.
She had one gunshot wound, which ended up into her chest.
We were able to recover a projectile from her upper torso.
It's the only projectile recovered in the case so far, and it provides an important piece of information.
We knew that we were looking for a large caliber revolver.
But since there's no trace of the murder weapon, detectives are forced to focus on their only other lead, a potential witness named by C.J. Bryan, his cousin Matthew.
CJ had mentioned Matthew Allen Hall Davis as potentially having some information.
Fortunately, finding Matthew comes easy.
I got a phone call from the front desk saying that there was someone in the lobby who wanted to speak to me in regards to the murder. So I walked downstairs, and there's a gentleman who introduces himself to me as Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
Please have a seat.
Detectives waste no time in sitting Matthew down for an interview.
Thanks for coming in, Mr. Hall Davis.
And when they do, he seems genuinely distraught. Turns out he and Shamari had been very close.
He said Shamari was a good friend of his. He also said he had a girlfriend named Devin who was good friends with Shamari. And he said Shamari, him, CJ, and Devin would often spend a lot of time together at their apartment on Greenfield Street. Devin worked in an ice cream store, and she would get out of work and always bring ice cream home. They would eat ice cream, watch movies together.
In fact, Matthew explains, he and CJ had just been with Shamari and her family the evening of her murder.
Matthew said that he had hung out with Shamari and CJ earlier in the day at a barbecue at her father's house in East Hartford. That they were all back there cooking hamburgers, having fun together, hanging out.
And that was actually the last time I really saw her alive. You sure about that? Yes, sir.
Matthew's story immediately raises a red flag. If what he says is true, it doesn't gel with CJ's earlier version of events.
So you weren't in the Clay Arsenal the other night?
No, sir.
So was CJ lying to us?
He had a feeling CJ knew who did it, and he can get that information and relay it to me.
But before Matthew gets that opportunity, detectives once again receive a call. This time from CJ's stepfather.
Just give me a moment, please. I'll be right back.
CJ's stepfather is a Hartford police officer, retired. I was good friends with him. He explained to me that he was gonna bring CJ in to tell me the truth, that him and CJ had a talk.
Once at the station, CJ admits he had not been truthful in his first interview.
I lied to you guys about why we've really been in Clay Arsenal.
Okay, what really happened then?
I had Shamari bring me over there to buy some weed, and that's when it all went down.
He told me he was trying to buy some marijuana. The person went behind the building to retrieve the marijuana, and when he came back, he had a gun.
I see the gun, I tell Shamari to hit it, and as he was trying to get away, he fired the gun.
Okay, who fired the gun?
And that's when he revealed the identity of the suspect.
His name is Lowe.
Detectives are already familiar with the name.
It was a person named Kavan. His street name was Lowe.
Kavan was in fact a suspect in another shooting in the area.
Okay, so you're telling me that Lowe is the one who killed Shamari Jenkins?
Yes.
He went as far as picking Lowe out in a photograph lineup.
Right away, I alert my counterparts. Give me all the information you can on Kavan. Find out where he is. We need him now. Because now, not only is he responsible for a shooting on Bedford Street 2 weeks earlier, it's possibly he's responsible for killing Shamari Jenkins.
Less than 48 hours later, Kavan is apprehended by police.
We brought him in, read him his rights, interviewed him.
Look, I don't even know why I got me in here. I didn't do nothing.
We have an eyewitness who said you have something to do with 2 different shootings.
He ultimately admitted to his involvement in the other shooting on Bedford Street, which is a couple of blocks away from where Shamari got killed.
It's an admission that gives credibility to CJ's story. Could a small-time drug deal have led to Shamari's murder? It would seem to explain what CJ and Shamari were doing in Clay Arsenal that night.
I get very excited. I got so excited because I'm like, I'm about to solve this case. I'm gonna solve this case.
But then, Kevon turns the table on detectives.
I don't know nothing about no Shamari Jenkins. I would never shoot no female.
He was adamant. I had nothing to do with shooting that female. I would never shoot a girl.
But detectives aren't about to take the word of an admitted criminal.
Where were you on the night of April 29th?
I was at home.
Do you have anyone that can vouch for that?
Kevon had stated at the time of the incident he was on the phone with his girlfriend, whom he identified for us.
Please have a seat.
Okay. Detectives follow up with Kevon's girlfriend, Christine.
His girlfriend did in fact come in and give us a statement confirming what he had said.
She said that she was home and she spoke to him around 12:30, 1 o'clock for like an hour.
Which, as detectives know, was right around the time of CJ's harrowing 911 call.
We were able to confirm cell phone records, his cell phone and her cell phone, and he was in that area where he said he was and not in the area where Shamari was shot at the time.
Which means Shamari's murder investigation is once again at a frustrating standstill. That is until detectives receive a call from another witness, one who will crack this troubling case wide open.
He had information related to the Shamari Jenkins homicide.
The threat of terrorism dominates news media and political debates, but Americans are much more likely to be killed by domestic gun violence. From 2005 to 2015, 71 Americans were killed in terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, compared to over 300,000 victims of gun violence during the same period. Nearly 2 weeks after Shamari Jenkins was gunned down inside her car in Hartford, Connecticut, the 20-year-old mother-to-be is finally laid to rest.
It was a going home celebration for my baby girl. You know, she'd have loved it to see all her family and friends there celebrate her life.
It was too much for me. It was too much for me, and I was still going through the loss of my mother. So when that happened, I just didn't want to be here no more.
Adding to the tragedy, CJ Bryan is left mourning the loss of his girlfriend and their unborn son.
He came up to me, hugging me, crying, saying he's sorry, and he'll get whoever did it. He's just really sorry. If she was at home, it would have never happened.
After Shamari's funeral, the grief proves unbearable for CJ. So much so, he decides to move out of state.
He wants to change his life. He wants to go to church. He's gonna go try living in Florida with his biological father.
Still, CJ promises to continue helping the investigation as needed.
He still stays in contact with me through phone calls. Because I said, look, CJ, I'm gonna need you periodically throughout this investigation.
It's an oath that would soon be put to the test. As weeks pass with no new leads, Shamari's murder investigation begins to grind to a standstill in the spring of 2013.
There was nothing that anyone can do. That's a lot of frustration.
Then, in May of that same year, police in Connecticut find themselves facing a new menace.
Several robberies had occurred in surrounding towns.
These robberies, no one was being shot, but 2 guys were running into the jewelry stores with a gun, stealing jewelry and running out and jumping into a car.
Luckily, in one such robbery in Manchester, Connecticut, the 2 perps are caught on tape.
There's surveillance video of that robbery, which shows them holding the gun and pointing it at the clerk in the store.
Manchester police turn to the media for help, and soon the effort pays off in a way no one expects.
Yeah, this is Early.
As a result of that media coverage of it, Carlton Bryan actually contacted Sergeant Early.
He called me one evening and says, Detective Early, I can help you solve the jewelry store robberies that are happening up in that area. I know exactly who's doing it. And I'm like, wow. I said, how would you know that? He like, just trust me, I know who's doing it.
And that's when he stated that it was Matthew Allen Hall Davis and Kingsley Minto.
Matthew Hall Davis, CJ's cousin, had been an early witness in Shamari Jenkins' murder. But now it seems he'd gotten in with the wrong crowd.
I met with the Manchester Police and the West Hartford Police. They had a little task force, and we exchanged information, compared notes, looked at videos, looked at the pictures that we had from the names provided by CJ. Perfect match.
Matthew Allen Hall Davis and Kingsley Minto were arrested on charges of robbing a jewelry store at gunpoint.
But once in an interview room at the Manchester Police Station, Kingsley Minto throws police for a loop.
He's admitted to the robbery, but he wants to be shown some leniency.
What makes you think we can do that for you?
First off, I have information about another case.
I'm listening.
I know who killed Shamari Jenkins.
Hold that thought.
That's when my phone rings and I get that call to come talk to him. And that's when everything opened up.
I understand you got some information for us about the murder of Shamari Jenkins.
Yeah.
He tells me that he's involved with doing robberies, but he's not a killer. He tells me that he did the robberies with Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
The day after Shamari's funeral, Matthew confessed to me that he killed her.
Kingsley says, I told Matthew, I don't want to hear no more. Don't tell me no more. Because I was just in disbelief. You went to her funeral. You guys knew this girl.
You know what? He used a revolver. I know exactly where it's at. I can show you guys.
Kingsley agrees to lead police to the gun. It's hidden in a park in Vernon, Connecticut.
He said he can show us where he drove Matthew to, where Matthew got out of the car, walked into some woods, and came back out. And he took us right to that area, and within 10 minutes, the firearm was located, wrapped up in a bag.
The firearm was in fact a large caliber, it was a .44 caliber Ruger Blackhawk revolver. That firearm was then transferred from the Manchester Police Department to State of Connecticut Laboratory, where they in fact confirmed that it was the firearm used to murder Shamari.
After weeks of heartbreaking dead ends, it appears detectives are finally closing in on Shamari's murderer.
I'm ecstatic. I got him. That's all I'm saying all night long. I got him. I got him. Now is the most important part of the investigation. I have to take my time. I can't let my excitement overwhelm me. I can't miss any steps.
But were investigators really as close as they believe? Or was there another side to this story still waiting to be told?
He said it was an accident and the bullet was meant for someone else.
The arrests of 24-year-old Matthew Hall Davis and his friend, 29-year-old Kingsley Minto, for a spate of armed robberies in Connecticut has led police to an unexpected discovery.
The information we got from Kingsley Minto was absolutely on point. He led us directly to the firearm, which we believed at that point was actually the firearm used to kill Shamari. He had also implicated Matthew Allen Hall Davis.
For a case that seemed at a dead end, it's a much welcome turn of events, and it was all made possible by Shamari's boyfriend and Matthew's cousin, CJ Bryan.
CJ served him to me on a silver platter, on his own.
Now all investigators need is Matthew's confession and a motive.
Following our interview with Kingsley Minto, we immediately went to interview Matthew while he was in the custody of Hartford Correctional Center.
But once in an interview room, Matthew denies shooting Shamari.
We need to know what happened to Shamari Jenkins.
I told you guys everything I know. I told you what happened.
After several hours of Matthew, denying and refusing to implicate himself, we started speaking about just general forgiveness and how, in the court's eyes, we feel if a person is honest about their mistake and they're remorseful for what they have done, it tends to look better for the suspect.
Finally, Matthew cracks.
He had a dramatic change, and he appeared to become more truthful. At one point, he simply said, "Let me call my girlfriend, and I'll tell you exactly what happened."
In front of police, Matthew calls his girlfriend, Devin.
He called her and put it in speaker mode so they could hear what everybody was saying.
Hello?
Hey, baby, how you doing?
Besides him telling her how much he loved her, he warned her that I'm about to tell you something, but I don't want you to look at me any differently.
I shot Shamari. I'm the one who killed her.
You know, she had become close friends with Shamari. She had gone to Shamari's funeral with Matthew. She just couldn't fathom that he was in fact responsible for it.
And then he was just begging her for forgiveness.
Are you serious?
Baby, no, it's not what you think.
I don't have anything else to say to you. Don't ever talk to me again.
And she hung up the phone, and he had the impression that she was done with him. He just started banging his head on the wall, smashing his head on the wall. So at one point, I dove across the table and grabbed him.
Calm down, bro.
Eventually, Matthew regains his composure, so detectives press him further.
Just tell us what happened. We need to know.
That's when Matthew drops another bombshell.
He says, you know, I'm the shooter, but CJ is the one who orchestrated this. He was the mastermind behind it.
During Matthew's confession of the incident, he confirmed that CJ, in fact, wanted Shamari killed because Shamari refused to have that abortion.
Matthew goes on to spell out exactly what happened that night, starting with the cookout at Shamari's house.
At some point, CJ tells him, you know, she has to go, gives him the gun.
After the party, Matthew says the three friends split up. Shamari drove CJ to his house, while Matthew left in CJ's car. On the way home, CJ asked his girlfriend to stop to meet someone in Clay Arsenal.
They pulled up on the side of the road, so I kept circling around the block until I was home.
He was able to park his car a block away on Enfield Street and walk through what they call a cut, a throughway over to the next street.
CJ told him to hide in a cut, and he was supposed to just run out and empty the whole clip on Shamari through her driver's window.
But Matthew says that's when he changed his mind.
I ran up to the car, intending to shoot CJ.
He said that he decided to run around another way and come behind the car to shoot CJ.
Why'd you want to kill CJ? For putting me in this position. Because I thought if CJ was gone, I wanted my problems to be gone.
He indicated to us that the shooting of Shamari was accidental. He didn't want to shoot Shamari, and that he had become upset with CJ that CJ had put him in that position.
So if you were trying to kill CJ, why's Shamari dead?
So when I shot, the bullet ricocheted and hit her.
But to investigators, Matthew's story sounds like a work of revisionist history.
My personal belief is that he thought if he had portrayed it as an accident, he would be viewed better by the court.
When you're telling me you intend to kill someone and someone else other than that person dies, the intent is transferred according to the law. Either way, it's murder.
But if CJ was involved in this conspiracy, as Matthew now so desperately asserts, why had CJ ratted him out? Detectives believe they know the answer.
Once he had seen the surveillance video of Matthew in possession of that firearm, CJ became really angry because Matthew was supposed to destroy the firearm after the homicide. And by Matthew committing armed robberies with the firearm, CJ believed that it was going to lead back to him that he was involved in the homicide.
So CJ essentially figured one of two things. I gotta get these guys off the street before police catch them with this gun. Or if police do link this gun to Shamari's death, they'll think these two guys did it and they won't give me up.
CJ obviously thought that he had it figured out. Unfortunately, by him contacting us and leading us directly to Kingsley Minto and Matthew Allen Hall Davis, it did exactly opposite of what he thought it was going to do, because it ultimately led us right back to him.
With Matthew's statement, police are one step closer to closing this case.
He said, I'm not going down alone, he's going down with me.
But will the word of a confessed killer really be enough? And had CJ really been the lone mastermind? What investigators are about to learn next will thrust a new player into this deadly game of hearts.
I really thought that Shamari Jenkins was his girlfriend, his main girl. But he had another girlfriend.
Matthew Allen Hall Davis, of course, his claim was that he ultimately tried to kill Carlton and accidentally killed Shamari in the process, which, you know, you can believe or not believe. And I mean, think about it. If you killed somebody you didn't intend to kill, would you want anything to do with guns after that? And yet 12 days later, he's pointing the same gun at a different person in another crime. That sort of weighs on the other side of the coin in terms of making one a little bit skeptical about his claims.
On June 6, 2013, 24-year-old Matthew Hall Davis confessed to Hartford police that he fired the lone bullet that killed mother-to-be Shamari Jenkins. But according to Matthew, his cousin and Shamari's boyfriend, C.J. Bryan, put him up to it.
There was never any allegation that Matthew Allen Hall Davis got anything in return for committing this shooting. It was simply that he was under some sort of influence from his friend.
I believed that C.J. manipulated him. I believe that he felt a strange kind of love for C.J., that he would do anything for him.
But in order to put C.J. behind bars for good, prosecutors will need more than Matthew's word. That's when a man named Everett Wallace comes forward as a result of neighborhood canvassing.
He actually lived in front of the building where Shamari and C.J. parked.
In an interview room, Wallace finally reveals the conniving depths of this conspiracy.
He noted to investigators that CJ had actually spoken to him in the hours before the shooting.
He asked me to be a witness for him.
His job was to be there and be a witness for the police, confirming that someone shot and ran away from the car.
He told me he was going to shoot her, but I didn't believe him. You know, people say that all the time. Doesn't mean they're going to do it. So.
He just didn't believe that someone could be that cold, that calculated, do something like that.
But what Wallace says next fills in the missing piece of the puzzle.
He said he would have her killed because she was pregnant, and he didn't want his baby mama to find out about it.
The allegation floors detectives.
I really thought that Shamari Jenkins was his girlfriend, his main girl, but he had a child and another girlfriend. In his mind, that was his main family.
CJ believed that Shamari was ruining his relationship with his main girlfriend, by whom he had a son.
His other girlfriend had evidently told CJ that if Shamari has that baby, they could no longer be together.
That was bad for CJ, not only because he would lose his son, but also his job.
His employment was through her grandfather's security company. CJ would lose everything if Shamari had that baby.
As CJ put it, Shamari was ruining his life.
All of which raises the question, could CJ's main squeeze, Ashley, have put him up to the act?
That is always a thought, you know, could she be, you know, a scorned, jealous lover that could have been involved?
But when investigators sit down with Ashley, she seems taken aback by that line of questioning.
I mean, you know, me and Shamari, we exchanged words at one time, but it was one time. Look, I didn't have anything to do with her death.
We had no further information to prove that she was in fact involved.
I think CJ denied the baby being his. His girlfriend believed him, and if the child was born, a blood test would reveal that CJ was the father. And CJ was not gonna ruin what she believed. He was gonna do anything at any cost to keep his son in his good graces and her grandfather, who owned the security company he worked for.
Based on witness statements and the recovery of the murder weapon, police believe they have more than enough evidence to arrest CJ. Now they just have to find him.
After the warrants get approved and signed by the judge, I'm calling CJ on the phone. I'm thinking he's in Florida, because that's what he's telling me. But we have a technology where we can ping a cell phone, so we use that technology to determine his exact location. And it wasn't in Florida where he told me he was. It was actually in Windsor, Connecticut.
And not just anywhere in Connecticut.
Global positioning technology showed his phone pinging at his girlfriend Ashley's house.
Now I'm really excited. We all get together, we go to the area of the house, we surround the house. At that point, CJ came out, nice as pie. He put his hands behind his back, looked at me in my face, said, "I'm sorry."
When Shamari's family hears the news, CJ's actions seem like the ultimate betrayal.
Honestly, at first, hearing the news of what actually happened, I felt like it was a lie at first. I just could not believe that someone could do something like that.
For you to come to our family function a few hours before you did it, it just really just set fire for me. And it just, after that, I just opened my eyes to everything.
All CJ had to do was just walk away, just leave her alone. If you didn't want to be bothered with the baby, all you had to do was just walk away. She would have been fine with her baby.
On May 1st, 2015, CJ's cousin, Matthew Hall Davis, is convicted and sentenced to 70 years in prison for Shamari's death. 3 months later, CJ receives a similar fate.
CJ, the mastermind, the orchestrator, got 80 years.
When the jury came back and read their verdict, I just jumped for joy, because now everything is over. Shamari has her justice, and now our family can just go on in peace.
I thought it would make me feel better, but it didn't. It didn't. It didn't make me feel better. I mean, yeah, justice was served, but it doesn't make my heart feel any less pain, you know, for Shamari. She didn't deserve that.
While justice is bittersweet, Shamari's family will always wonder what might have been if this young, beautiful woman hadn't followed her heart into the wrong arms.
He made Shamari believe that he loved her. He made Shamari believe that she was his only one and that they were going to be in a relationship and raise their son. But he showed otherwise. He never did love Shamari. If he loved Shamari, he would have never had this done to her.
You think you know people, but you really have no idea what people are capable of, and you just have to be careful who you trust and let into your life.